Hello, everyone, and welcome to Re-Engineer You, the number one show for massive weight loss and lifestyle transformation. I am your host, Cameron Makarchuk, Master Transformation Coach, and I got a great episode for you guys today. This is a good friend of mine, Catherine Gordon, who's with me today. And how you doing, Catherine?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, Catherine, I got to spend a little bit of time with you in, where were we? Vegas,
Mhm.
right? And so I heard your story down there, and it was just such an inspirational story, and you've been doing some such great work with people at your training studio in California, and now with some online things that you're doing too to help more people. So, and you have such a fabulous story, and I wanted to kind of get you on here to talk about that and what you've been up to help all these people with weight loss and lifestyle transformation and everything. So let's just kind of start there. Maybe just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and who Catherine Gordon is and where you came from.
Well, Cameron, I'm so excited to be on your program. Transformation is something that has been fascinating me for years. And it is the primary purpose at Gordon Studio in California. We're all about physical transformation and then how that leads to transforming your life and helping you to live the life that you really want. I'm going to go back a ways to talk about what I'm transformed from. And my struggle has always been with overweight and then ultimately with obesity. My overweight struggle started as a child. I was 8 years old when I was put on my first diet by my pediatrician, and that did not go well. I remember he asked me if I wanted to count calories. And quite frankly, I ended up being pretty much hungry for the next 35 years. Uh, and this was the difficulty I had. I loved things like singing and dancing and acting, and that's what I wanted to do for my career. So I found myself in this constant struggle, trying desperately to be thinner and fit the mold and fit the ideal that I was supposed to fit.
Mm-hmm.
I tried every diet out there, from Atkins to the Zone and everything in between. Sometimes I had some success, but then the weight would always come back on. It's the same old story, weight coming back on plus
Mm-hmm.
more. Then finally, I met the love of my life and had our son 12 years ago. But at that point, it was kind of a little bit later. I had him when I was 37. And then during the pregnancy, I gained a great deal of weight. I'm only 5'1", and I got up to 205 pounds.
Okay.
After he was born, I was officially obese, and I remained that way for 7 years. And Cameron, during that 7 years, I was training, or I should say I was exercising,
Mm-hmm.
and I was dieting. Let me tell you how much exercise I was doing. I was at the gym 5 or 6 days a week. And I was usually at the gym for a total of 2 hours for every session. And you want to know why it was 2 hours? It was because that was how long like the child care was, right?
Yeah.
I could bring Colin in and I would go from like treadmill to spin to step and then back to the machines where, you work your legs on the machine, you do the leg press, and you do it. And I was doing, here's a moment. I remember asking one of the trainers there, who interestingly enough was overweight. What was I thinking? What I needed to do to finally
Mm-hmm.
get the weight off. And she looked me in the eye and she said, do more cardio. Oh yeah, I know.
Uh,
And and you know what? A good person doing what she knew,
yeah,
giving me the best information that she thought she had.
yeah.
And nothing changed until I discovered a new way of training,
Mm-hmm.
which was turbulence training,
Right.
which eliminated that steady state cardio
Mm-hmm.
and introduced me to the interval training,
Mm-hmm.
and then also introduced me back into the weight room, got me back into the weight room. This beautiful combination of high intensity body weight exercises, the right
Mm-hmm.
amount of recovery, and then lifting weights.
Right.
But as we all know, the equation isn't complete until you find a way to eat.
Right.
And what I found my way of eating. And it did start with, I've got to be honest, the success really did start with the Atkins diet.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I found was, when I was doing Atkins in a whole food way, like I was eating, high quality protein, I was
Mm-hmm.
eating vegetables, I was eating, high quality fats.
Mm-hmm.
it worked really well. But as soon as I started to add like the bars and the shakes and the
Hmm.
convenience foods,
Right.
it all fell apart.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, now why does it work when I eat real food? And why does it not work when I try to eat these, high fat, low carb bars and shakes and convenience foods?
Yeah.
And that was where, and my journey led me to all kinds of different places, into things like looking at intermittent fasting,
Right.
which sometimes worked for me and sometimes didn't, and
Hmm.
just had to adjust it to work for me.
Hmm.
And then also, even into areas of research like what people with food addiction do, what compulsive overeaters do. And for the last 6 years, I immersed myself in understanding how to take the weight off for good, and then understanding what exactly it was that I had done to get it off. The great news is from that non-pregnancy high of 185 pounds at 5'1",
Hmm.
I got down to 117 without feeling hungry. And ever since, I have never been overweight again. And I tend to fluctuate within about a 10-pound range.
Hmm.
And then sometimes if I'm going to do a photo shoot or something like that, I really, really, really clean up my diet. And that's something that I'm working on right now. I have a diet called Sugar Freedom,
Right.
which is already available. And then right now I'm creating something that's going to be released in a few weeks called Sugar Freedom XP. And XP stands for extra pure, extra powerful, no plateaus. And it really is, it's the really dialed in version of Sugar Freedom. When you've got an important event, when you need to get off of a plateau, and basically it takes out all of the convenience foods and really is a very, very clean food version of Sugar Freedom.
Wow, I love it. I didn't even
Thank
know
you.
I didn't even know you were working on that, but that's a really good idea.
Well, and because one of the things about Sugar Freedom is that I really wanted it to be a balanced approach, a lifestyle program.
Hmm.
That there's a 3-day phase, and then 10 days, and then we add back in fruit, high quality organic dark chocolate, one of my favorite treats. But one of the things that I discovered is that the basic Sugar Freedom plan can be accelerated and improved by pulling out some of the things that I, and what I have discovered, some of my clients and students tend to overeat.
Okay,
So that's what it does.
awesome. So you were
Yeah.
saying when you started to see some success, then you were saying it all kind of started with kind of that Atkins diet approach, and then did you kind of modify that around to be kind of how you eat now and how you kind of formed that Sugar Freedom diet approach?
Yes, and what's interesting, Cameron, is I learned so much from shows and programs like yours.
Hmm.
I started, going on the internet and listening to different podcasts and reading different books. And I read books by Gary Taubes and Dr. Robert Lustig and Dr. William Davis, and you start to get immersed, and you get a passion for why something works.
Hmm.
And this is what happened. I understood that a low carb approach was working, but I wanted to understand why. And then I also wanted to find my lifetime way of eating.
Hmm.
And I had an understanding that I needed to find, the healthiest foods that I could.
Yeah.
And so one of the approaches that I take is that my kind of personal pyramid really starts with vegetables.
Hmm.
And it starts with the green leafy vegetables, a little bit of the root vegetables, your sweet potatoes, your potatoes. But that if you look at my plate and your plate, if you're on Sugar Freedom, that plate is mostly going to be filled with vegetables cooked in high quality fats,
Right.
coconut oil, grass-fed butter, ghee,
Mhm.
highest quality olive oil. And that's what's mostly going to be on your plate. Moderate amount of protein, appropriate amount of fat,
Mhm.
and then in order to get you satisfied. And then the level of fruit, starches, root vegetables, the level of other things that you bring in is all going to be based on your results. I react differently to a serving of blueberries than I react to a banana.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Some people don't, but it's a voyage of discovery. And what Sugar Freedom gives you, it gives you that baseline template.
Right.
Here's where you start. We're going to get you satisfied. We're going to manage your appetite. We're going to get you feeling good. And then you start to explore how much leeway you have personally.
Awesome.
And so if you look at the beginning with Atkins, which was your classic low fat, low carb, high fat diet.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Dr. Atkins. It was a starting point for me. That was
Yeah.
like jumping off place. And then what I created was this personal plan that was going to get, as many nutrient dense foods as I could and lots of satisfaction. And if I may, the whole point of doing Sugar Freedom is it gives you this feeling of just like peace around food.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wonderful to get up in the morning, eat a good breakfast, feel satisfied. It's what is it? It's before noon here. Mm-hmm. I had my breakfast at 7:30, went and, taught a class, and I feel fantastic right now.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry, not stressed. I feel completely energized. And then when it's lunchtime, I go and make my lunch. So
yeah.
It's a happy way to live.
So let's talk about that. Let's take us through a typical day for you for eating. What would a day look like for Catherine Gordon in her diet?
Well, see, that's the great thing is that when I started on this journey, I started writing everything down.
Awesome.
And that was the basis of the diet. So I can tell you that so easily. So a typical day is going to be a standard serving of fruit. So it's going to be like, one pear or half of a moderate sized melon, or it's going to be a cup of blueberries or strawberries. And then I love eggs, I got to tell you. And I have a friend who brings me eggs from her hens, and it's usually going to be 2 eggs. And then one of the things that might be unusual about Sugar Freedom is vegetables for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
I eat a big breakfast. Mm-hmm. And so I've got the 1 serving of fruit, I've got some eggs for my protein, and then I'm going to have sauteed spinach or kale or red chard, or I'm going to go and I'm going to start with, with onion and celery and add that. And then I'm going to add some of these spices that are so good for us. Turmeric, ginger, iodized sea salt, because we need to get a little bit of iodine in our diet for our thyroid. I'm going to be turning 50 this year. And one of the great concerns that I see is when people start to go on like a low salt diet, and where are we getting our iodine to support our thyroid?
Yeah.
So here's a tip for your watchers, your readers, your viewers. If you go to Amazon.com, I get Italian iodized sea salt, fine Italian iodized sea salt. You really kind of have to order it. If you go to the grocery store, even the sea salt that they iodized, if you read the label, they put dextrose in it to make it pour.
Oh, really?
And what's dextrose? It's
sugar.
A form of sugar.
Yeah. Wow.
What up with that? So these are some of the little odd things in our food world that we really have to be aware of. I mean, if you're like me and you really need to keep sugar out of your diet as much as you can. So let's go on to lunch. If I could give my students one piece of advice, please get that wonderful green leafy salad in every day and make your own salad dressing.
Yes.
Please don't use a bottled dressing. You know what I'm talking about, Cameron.
Yeah.
Just get yourself that high quality olive oil. Add a vinegar that you like. I like the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Mm-hmm. One of my secrets is, and you don't have to use this if you don't want to, is I will sometimes add just a touch of liquid stevia just to take some of the sour edge off of my salad dressing. Right. And if I could just get people to have that salad every day. Mm-hmm. And once again, you're going to have another serving of protein. I like organic chicken thighs, organic turkey, organic grass-fed ground beef that you can cook up and put in a cabbage leaf for a wrap. Right. Delicious.
Yeah.
I make my own mayonnaise. Just, egg yolk, olive oil, slow hand blender, make that to make it extra yummy. Yeah. Not too much. And then dinner is, once again, your proteins are your grass-fed beef, your wild-caught fish, your organic poultry. And then you're going to have another salad at night, and you're going to have another serving of vegetables. And holy cow, you are going to be full.
Wow.
So, one of the things that my students and my clients and my readers tell me, it's like, how am I going to eat all these vegetables? Right?
Yeah.
That's part
I get that
of
all the time too.
it is the secret to sugar freedom
Yeah.
is that you really are going to be getting full on these high quality foods, and it's going to take that obsessive compulsive need to be snacking
Hmm.
away.
Yeah.
And I think also a lot of people who go on a traditional low carb diet, they start, sometimes their digestion, their energy, they have some trouble making the transition. And
Hmm.
I do think that sugar freedom is a little bit different in that the volume of vegetables is so high that generally, it's going to keep your digestion, fairly normal if you're drinking enough water. And hopefully the vegetables are going to give you, you're not going to get that wall you sometimes hit
Hmm.
if you need to go into say more of a ketogenic diet,
Right.
which can be helpful and can be
Yep.
useful.
Hmm.
It isn't sugar freedom. There are other people who are better experts on going ketogenic than I am.
Hmm.
uh, Sugar freedom, what I found that it's that great balance for getting off of sugar but still having unlimited green leafy vegetables.
Awesome. Awesome. That's very good. Very good. And that's, I mean,
Thanks.
that's all kind of why I really thought it'd be a good fit for you to be on here too, because I mean, a lot of that fits with the recommendations that I give to my clients also. I mean, it comes down to having lots of vegetables, lots of, good high quality proteins, good fats, making your own salad dressings. I think I told 15 people that today already.
Oh,
And
oh, good for you.
it's such an easy thing to do, but people don't realize how easy it, or sometimes don't realize how easy it can be to whip up a really tasty salad dressing out of just a couple ingredients and not
Yes.
have all of those filler ingredients and sugars and processed stuff that comes in the bottled salad dressings. So so yeah, that's really awesome. That's exactly why I thought it'd be a good fit for you to have you on here too, because your views are just so in line with what we recommend too. So and it works. So that's a good thing.
Well, Cameron, I think it's a very exciting time right now. I think that we've been struggling against so many of the recommendations that tell us to eat, so many servings of bread and cereal a day,
Hmm.
and tell us to, limit that fat. And people are starting to say, wait a minute, let's really look hard at the research.
Hmm.
Let's see what the proof is. Let's really see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's an exciting time because more researchers and more high level doctors and people are really starting to say, okay, now wait a minute, did we have this right?
Yeah.
And I think you and I are benefiting as well from that. Let's talk about fats and oils for a minute.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think one of the things that's been such a mess for all of us in the overweight and obese world is that we're painting all the fat with the same brush. And we
Hmm.
all need to step back and say, some fats are helpful and some fats are not.
Hmm.
And it gets really confusing when we get into things like soybean and canola oil.
Hmm.
People have been told for years that, oh, this is a better choice. And now we're beginning to realize, especially in the area of canola oil, that, oh dear, this may
Hmm.
not have been a good choice.
Yeah.
We really, really need to go back to the high quality extra virgin olive oil. I don't know if you've seen the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like going back to the extra virgin olive oil, I mean the coconut oils, all
Hmm.
that type of stuff where, years past, like back in the 80s and 90s, those things were like, don't have those. The fat
Heavens, no.
content in those are going to kill you and give you a
Oh,
heart attack instantly. But now, yeah, you're right. It's very exciting because more research is coming out to kind of show that all of that maybe was, viewed in the wrong light and yeah, now we can have all these things and feel better about our diet and about our lives
mhm.
and feel better just having these more of a higher fat, more moderate to high protein and a little bit lower carbohydrate type diets.
Well, and let's talk about protein for a minute. I mean, one of the things that's very confusing to my students and clients and readers is, okay, how much protein, what's a good protein, what's not a good protein, and it's getting to be very similar as it is to fat.
Hmm.
Let me give you an example. Let's take two ribeyes. A ribeye is a very well marbled high cost steak.
Hmm.
The ribeye that I'm going to go get, that conventional ribeye
Hmm.
that's been grain fed and it's come from a mass marketed steer,
Yeah.
is not the same as the grass fed organic local ribeye
Hmm.
that I'm going to get from say, Hearst Ranch from somebody I actually know in my community.
Yep.
And that, I think, is what's so confusing for people.
And that's going to be confusing. That is going to be confusing for people for a while, I think, because when you look at them, they look exactly the same. And that's a battle that I have with people all the time right now, too, is trying to get people to switch, go a little bit more onto the local meat, grass-fed meat, that sort of angle. But it is a hard thing for people to realize and for people to see, because when you look at it, it looks the same. But, we're telling you that it's not. And it's a hard thing to grasp sometimes.
And it can take a little longer conversation than you can sometimes have in that 5 minutes before or after you have your group class. I do turbulence training classes. Right. They're 30 minutes long. Oh my gosh, crazy effective, right? Yeah. This 30-minute protocol. Yep. But there isn't a lot of time, and it's another reason why I really wanted to write Sugar Freedom, is that I can sit and I can write all this down. I can get this information into my blog. I can get it into the ebook. And in situations like this, we can talk about that as well. Mm-hmm. And as people get more educated about nutrition and understanding that all fats aren't alike, all proteins aren't alike, for heaven's sake, all fruits aren't alike.
Yep.
If you look at some of these, have you seen these monster strawberries and these like grapples?
Yep.
Where they take an apple and they turn it into a sugar bomb?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever had a grapple?
No, I haven't. I don't know if I'm quite familiar with that.
Okay, basically it's an apple that they've kind of made taste like a grape.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I don't think we have that up here.
Well, maybe you wouldn't let them in because it just sounds crazy. It's like, how did you do that? but I think a grapple is a great example. You're taking this wholesome food, the apple, and you're turning it into a high sugar treat, which for somebody like me might be a trigger. For example, Granny Smith apple. Oh man, that's a power food for me. Mm-hmm. But a high sugar hybrid apple would be a really bad choice for me. So this is where we're splitting hairs. And this is what I want to encourage your viewers to go into their nutritional program understanding that to a certain extent, they're going to have to take charge.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
What works for them. Another example, I got into a little trouble this weekend. My son and my husband are naturally slender. High metabolisms, naturally slender. They have no trouble with sugar. Mm-hmm. My son can eat half a cookie and put it down and go, meh. So there's this cupboard in the house. And in that cupboard is the conventional nuts, the cookies, the beef jerky, the crackers, the things that I don't eat are in that cupboard. Mm-hmm. For some reason this weekend I got into the nuts, the conventional, big brand nuts that are made with, soybean oil and MSG and all that. I don't know why it's even in the cupboard, but it is. But I don't know what I was thinking. I went ahead and I had some of those. And then I got into the beef jerky. And then it was like, oh, Lord, here we go. One of those days. And I know your viewers are going to be nodding their heads knowing what I'm talking about. And so I want them to know that I am not perfect. There are times when the wheels come off the wagon, and we'll just let you.
And what do you do in those? What do you do in those situations when the wheels do come off? Like, how do you handle those situations for yourself when all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm into the all those foods that you don't normally eat. What do you do in those situations?
I'm going to be very, very honest with you.
Please.
In general, what I have found one of the things I think that my students say to me and my readers, they say, thank you for your honesty. Mm-hmm. Here's what happens in my case after 35 years of dieting. Unfortunately, once it starts, it's kind of a mess for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. Luckily, the next morning is when I can get things fixed again. And what I do is the next morning, I make sure I get up in the morning, I have plenty of water, I have my warm lemon water, and then I have that power breakfast, which is, it's going to be the spinach and the salsa and the eggs and some uncured bacon on the side. And what that does is that, here's the biggest mistake I think you can make after you've had a bad day. and I think a lot of women do this. They get up the next morning and they say, you know what, I'm not going to eat till noon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then noon comes around and they're right back in that bad cupboard and they're back in the crazy stuff again.
That's so true.
And what I would say, and I know that there's a lot of good research on intermittent fasting. I know that a lot of lean guys are having success with skipping breakfast. God bless them. I'm happy for them. For me, breakfast is the key to everything. It may not be for you or for some other folks. So the key when you have a mess, when the wheels come off, is that next morning. You drink your warm lemon water, you drink your water. I love organic coffee with a little raw cream in it. I live in California. We can have raw dairy. And then you go for that power breakfast. Protein, vegetables, healthy fat. And then, bam, I am right back on track. I make sure I eat that good breakfast. I make sure I eat that good dinner. I generally eat my dinner quite early because 5 days a week, I do teach classes in the evening. So during the week, I do have kind of a shortened eating window. I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm eating dinner very early, and then I'm not eating again until breakfast. So I am getting some of the advantages of that at least 12 hours between dinner and breakfast, which I think some people would call IF. They would call that an intermittent fasting program. Or some people would, some people wouldn't. But I do find that for me, that overnight, the insulin levels drop, and I really do believe that I'm burning fat like crazy overnight, and I love that. So one more thing, though. When things go wrong, when I eat the trouble foods, and this I found has stood me in very good stead, I stop and I think, okay, what is it that I really, really want? And then I will literally get in the store and go get it. I will make it. I'll say, come on, Van and Colin, we're going out to dinner so I can have this thing that I really want. And I would say to your viewers, if you get to the point where you're getting into the chips or the cookies or the junk, stop and say, okay, as long as I've gone here and I really want something sweet or salty or grainy or whatever it is, really think about what it really is that you want and then go get that. Do not waste this time on frozen waffles or stale chips, or don't do that. If you really are having a craving and you really are having trouble, get something high quality. Now, one of the ways that I think that sometimes we can avoid that, and this is what I do, is that I do a bonus meal, either every 7 or every 10 days. That's when I'm having my high quality organic dark chocolate, or I might make a really special, I make a sugar and grain free cupcake that I make, or I make these special pancakes that are grain and sugar free. I think it can also help if you've got some really good recipes of things, for me, that are sugar and grain free that you can make for yourself, that you're like, yeah, this is delicious. Rather than reaching for the junk nuts or the junk cookies or the beef jerky. Right?
Absolutely. And that's something
prevent it.
That's something my girlfriend's been starting to do too a little bit recently. We just moved in together a couple months ago, and that's something she's been doing recently, is kind of trying to find better ways to make like the traditional dessert type things, but in kind of a sugar-free, dairy-free, wheat-free, grain-free sort of way. So she just found this brownie recipe the other day, and it's brownies made with avocados, and so they were really, really, really good. There was no sugar, no dairy, no flour or anything in it. It was just, I don't even remember what was in it, but it was like avocados and some organic, the pure cocoa powder, and I can't remember what else. Maybe some raw honey or something in it. But they were really, really good. So.
And I want to mention that you mentioned the raw honey, and I do like about every 7 to 10 days have my organic dark chocolate. My plan is called Sugar Freedom. Now, of course, there's natural sugar in fruit, and there is going to be sugar in some of the things that I eat. When I do go and get something, I want to make sure that sugar is below the fourth ingredient down.
Right.
So if you're, like I like the Taza organic chocolate, and
Okay.
it's going to be a dark chocolate. It's going to be like a 70% dark or
Hmm.
more. And very often, what I'll do is I'll have the serving, and then I'll eat it with some raw almonds or some raw walnuts,
Oh yeah.
so that it's not. So I'm pushing that sugar farther down the list. I
Right.
want to make sure that sugar is not one of the first four ingredients.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's a really good way to
the
look at
same
it.
thing with a little bit of honey in the brownie.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that honey is down there far enough that it's not going to be a trigger.
Right.
Just another
Yeah.
tip.
Yeah, that's a good tip actually. I never thought about it like that. That's good. That's very good.
It can help.
Um, so that this has been great. Let's kind
Thank
of
you.
shift gears and talk about the Sugar Freedom product. Let's talk about that a little bit. You got a sale coming up. I think this will probably I'll post this up probably next week, maybe the week after to get a little bit closer to the sale date.
Yes.
But tell us about that. What's going on?
Well, Sugar Freedom already exists, and what it is that you get the Sugar Freedom manual, you get the 3-day sugar strike, and then you also get some meal plans and menus and recipes to help you out along with that. So it's already ready to go. And then there's another piece to it that if you want, you can get 12 weeks of meal plans. Literally 12 weeks. These are meals that I actually ate to lose weight.
Hmm.
I'm very passionate about this. If I ate it, it's in there. If I didn't eat it, it's not in there. I mean, it is the truth.
Awesome.
So what's coming out next, though, is what I call Sugar Freedom XP. Now, Sugar Freedom itself, I tried to make it add enough variety and interest so it was kind of a lifestyle plan. What XP is that it is all the power and fat burning foods. It's going to be your vegetables, your high quality protein, and it's going to be your fats and a little bit of fruit, maybe a bit of sweet potato or potato, but it's going to be the cleanest version of Sugar Freedom is.
Hmm.
And on top of that, a lot of the vegetables that I find are plateau busting vegetables, your diuretic vegetables, your asparagus, your mushrooms, your eggplant, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be a 14-day program. It is a 14-day program. 3 days the most strict, loosen the reins a little bit over the next 10 days, bonus meal on day 10. And it's a 14-day plan to really, really get you some results. And, I've seen significant weight loss of, right around, 5 to 7 pounds, even for women who don't have a whole lot of weight to lose. The idea is we're going to get that inflammation down. We're going to get that whoosh effect.
Hmm.
And also we're going to make your skin glow, your eyes sparkle. And it is what I follow if I've got a photo shoot, if I've got an important event coming up. It's the extra pure version of Sugar Freedom. And then the sale is going to be happening as well. So the whole product is going to be at a discount.
Hmm.
And one of the great things about Sugar Freedom is that we are committed to, if you do get the diet, if I come out with something new like Sugar Freedom XP,
Hmm.
then that is simply added on to it. You can simply download it, and it's part of, so you don't, if you've already got Sugar Freedom, you don't miss out. You're going to get Sugar Freedom XP with it.
Very cool. Very cool indeed. And when is that sale happening?
That's going to start on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day and for the next 3 days. And you know why? Because the big question that I ask my students and I ask myself so many times is, haven't you had enough?
Hmm.
Because really, after the holidays, after the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
after here in the States, after Valentine's Day, man, you just want to get the sugar out of your life.
Yep.
So you can feel great, you can feel energized, you can feel at peace with food. And that's why we want to do this at Valentine's Day, is we want to say, this is your opportunity to say, good heavens, I have had enough.
Hmm.
And go ahead, get it out. And because my favorite question is, how do I get off of sugar?
Hmm.
And the answer is, eat something else, right?
So simple.
And what sugar, I forgive the simplicity. But the idea is we're going to show you this something else that you can eat to get off of sugar, stay satisfied, stay energized, and be like, oof, why did I really need that junk in the first place?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool, Catherine. Well, I will put a link below this video here somewhere for the for your sale. And yeah, this should. I'll probably put this up. I don't know what day of the week Valentine's Day is, but I'll put this up sometime during that
Friday.
week. Oh, is it a Friday?
It's Friday.
Oh, well,
yes.
that's perfect.
Oh, I know what day. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Awesome.
You got that.
Good.
You got that weekend to get it at a discount. So.
Perfect. So then this will go up probably on the Tuesday or Wednesday. And and yeah, so if you're watching this right now, wait 2 more days, then click on the link below this video, and you can go grab Sugar Freedom from Catherine, which is a fabulous, fabulous program. I can't give it a high recommendation enough. And as you can see, Catherine definitely knows what she's talking about. She's got a lot of really great tips, really great meal plans and recipes and stuff that are in there. So and she has the experience to prove it. So it's worked for her, and it can work for you also. So
yes.
So that about does it. Oh, I'll say one more thing too. I remember you wanted me to mention you do have a blog, a website.
Yes.
And so I just quickly took a look at it before we started talking here, and you do have a lot of really great stuff up there too. Lots of good recipes and articles and things like that up there. So it is at
Any diets as well. We've got if you scroll down, you're going to see there's like not the blog post that's up right now. There's like the camera ready diet. There's a bloat busting diet.
Oh, cool.
So there's actually some good free stuff in there that can give you a real idea of what Sugar Freedom is all about.
Cool. Well, yeah, and that's at sugarfreedom.com/blog.
That's right.
I will put that below this video also somewhere down here. And you can guys go check that out as well, and give Catherine some love over on her blog and website over there, and see what she's up to. Any last closing thoughts from you, Catherine? Actually, let's do this. What would you say is the number one thing that people should focus on today that'll make the biggest impact in their transformation? What can they do today?
Well, the one practical thing, the number one practical thing is please drink some water.
Perfect.
Man, I gotta tell you, we busy women, I don't know about you busy men. It seems like the first thing that we busy women forget to do is stay hydrated. Please get a pretty glass, get with some water. So that is the practical, drink your water. I also want to talk about the emotional and the mindset. Connect your nutritional and your fitness goals to what you really want in life. Take 5 minutes to sit quietly and say, what is it that I want in my life that being healthy and having my authentic ideal body, what would that get me? And understand, connect it to something deeper than just what size you are or how you look or how people react to you. Connect your eating and your moving to something that you really, really want in your heart. And then it'll be a lot easier to remember to drink your water. So those are the 2 things.
That's awesome. That's very good
Thanks,
tips. Very, very, very good. So that does it for this episode of Re-Engineer You. Like I said, like Catherine said, drink some water, and go check out her blog at sugarfreedom.com/blog. And after this, when you're watching this video, please click the link below this video, and you can go check out the sale that she has going on for her Sugar Freedom program, which, like I said, fabulous program. Can't recommend it highly enough. And it will definitely do wonders on your body and on your diet. So thank you, Catherine, for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. This has been a very great episode, and I know a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this from you. So thank you very much for taking the time with us today. And that does it. If you guys, as always, if you guys like this video, please click the like, tweet, +1 buttons below this video. Spread the love, share the love, and get this out there to your friends and family. Or leave us a comment on reengineeryou.com, and I will try to get back to you over there. So that does it for today. I will see you guys next time.